in 3, in 2, in 1. And welcome everybody to a brand new FrameCast that kind of looks the same, doesn't it, Drew?
Yeah, how it actually looks. Yeah, it does look the same.
Yeah, I didn't really change anything about the overlay. I was thinking about like, oh, maybe I can make like cool like transitions for topics, and I figured it would be like too much. It's like we're just talking. Like that's what the podcast is about. We start doing fancy slides and stuff. It's like, where's the music coming from?
Lol.
So yeah, how's it going, dude?
Oh, it's going well. Obviously, we didn't do one last week.
Mm-hmm.
It's been... So I don't know if you had it over where you are, but like in the UK, yesterday was a national holiday. Well, I say national. So that was great. It was really nice to have just a day off, an extra day, a 3-day weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
No, we had like I think it's called Ascension Day or something. We had that on like first day, so we have Thursday and Friday off, and then like the weekend.
Right.
So we don't do the Monday, but what kind of holiday is it even? Like your Mondays?
It's just called a bank holiday, so it's where, as far as I understand, it's where banks like across the country shut down to do some sort of auditing. It happens twice in May and once in August.
Mm-hmm.
If memory serves. So it's like the first and last Monday of May, and then I think it's the last Monday of August.
I mean,
So, yeah.
If banks are closing down and you get an extra free day, it's like not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, I know. There's nothing to complain about with that.
Definitely not. So last week, as you said, we didn't have a FrameCast. That's because we were talking to each other because we felt like we could change some things up in the FrameCast to make it even better, or actually like better suited for what it is now than what it used to be. So when we started this out last year, do you know what date we started out on? I think it was somewhere in May or June last year. I don't remember the date, but I think it was like almost around this time.
Surely you could look it up on YouTube.
I should probably be able to look it up on YouTube. But I think it was around this time we started up with the FrameCast. And the thing kind of started out with us wanting to talk about like various like different topics within like Warframe that we were playing, which were like things that we felt were kind of undiscussed, or if they were discussed, it was always with like a very negative like point of view towards it, or a very positive bias point of view. And we figured if we could just like break it down into like 2 hours long, we just like take things apart, we could probably get a much better, clearer view, objective view on like what this thing really is. So our focus was very much on Warframe, and over this time, like we've gone to like expand ourselves more over different games, over different pieces of media, and some FrameCasts have been really good about certain topics where we could really dive in deep, but other topics have been like a bit less good, because it's kind of hard when we're trying to cover, like right now we're covering more games, movies, series, like like basically everything that you can see on a frame we're kind of like covering in the FrameCasts. But because of that, because we're spreading a wider net right now, it's kind of tough to like spend 2 hours talking about a single topic about which we don't even know whether you know like the ins and outs about. So we wanted to like spread it up a little bit. We wanted to like make sure that we could talk about more different topics. We wanted to like make it a little bit more lighthearted, like have more fun with it. And yeah, is there anything that I missed?
The 22nd of May, 2019.
Oh so my God.
A few days ago.
Woo! First anniversary of the FrameCast.
Yeah. That is crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just looked it up on mine, and like, wait a second, it says the 31st was the first highlight. So when was the first thing? And like, first one was on the 31st.
Wow. Been doing it for a year. That's amazing.
I mean, we had that break, I want to say around August, September, August, something like that, which was fine because, you know, I then had to move out and everything. So,
and I went on vacation with family. So,
that
would have been a bit like hard to do. But anyway, that's great. Literally a year at the FrameCast. That's really, really cool. So, we had some things that we wanted to address, mainly to like cover more topics, make sure that we could like cover it in such a way that like, you know, we could like go over it, cover the main points, but that we didn't need to like go 2 hours deep into something which would probably be so niche that like I or Casino wouldn't have like the knowledge and tools around it to like cover it, or maybe you wouldn't even have like the interest in it where you're like, yeah, but I've never played this game, or I've never watched this movie, or I don't know. So we
I
wanted to
have
like,
no opinion on this thing. Yeah.
yeah. So we wanted to cover more things, so we could be more like on like actualities. We wanted to be more like on different topics, so we could cover more interests. So we have different segments to the show. Like we can go over them real quick. What we have in store for you today. First up, we're gonna have like well, let's just start out with the topics right away. Our titular topic is Doom Eternal goes back on Denuvo Anti-Cheat. We have Ubisoft may re-release the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game. And then we also have Joe Rogan signs exclusivity deal with Spotify for his Joe Rogan Experience Podcast. Those are our 3 topics for today. But before that, we also have a segment we'd like to call What Have You Played? Which is going to be like a weekly new segment. And we have something which I've called Community Comeback, which I don't know if we're going to keep it that way. That was just like a placeholder name, where we want to interact more with YouTube comments. If you're watching this on YouTube, and like I have seen some really, really cool comments coming by, like we want to like interact with them a lot more. Also, the questions that are normally posted at the end, which like we're still going to answer at the end. If you have that like right at the start of the stream, or you have that like earlier in the week, you can post them throughout the stream, and we can like get to them, and maybe we'll like make even like a separate paying thing in like the Discord, or if you comment on the YouTube video, we can like put them down below as well. Is that everything covered? Did we get everything?
I think that's everything.
Yay! Cool. Awesome.
So I think the first thing is what have you played this week?
I'm seeing some extra things though. Because if you look, we just talked about the FrameCast changes, but I've been very, very happy to figure out that Drew now has also started posting on TikTok. Woo!
Damn it! How did you work that out?
Because like you showed me that you were making TikToks.
Oh shit! Did I?
Yes,
what
you
did.
did.
I link you?
What
did I link?
Oh, you linked the very fancy one, the one with like I don't even know if we can show it. No, you linked the TikTok X Galleon one. Like let me see if I can bring it up. So what
Is it just the channel?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna get to it in a moment. But like, what got you into making TikToks, and what kind of TikToks are you making?
Like, so primarily doing gaming TikToks, because that's where my interest is. It wasn't until I saw the format by oh god, I think it's like Kaz. Oh shit, what was her name? So I need to quickly find her name, because I don't want to say, oh, that person. Where is following? Where is she? There she is. Yeah, it's Crusader, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kruzadar. She came up with a fantastic format for gaming TikToks, and that is what heavily inspired me to go, you know what? I'd love to get into what the kids are watching and stuff like this. So I'll I'll mimic the format. I'm not saying it's I didn't put the work in to come up with this format, but the idea is that OBS has this amazing ability to buffer what you're playing,
Mm-hmm.
and just playing around with that, and I was able to get it to buffer the game stuff I was playing. So yeah, I was able to capture the very funny moments of when I was playing whatever game with whatever person.
Nice. We're looking right now at like a Star Wars thing on screen, having just enough stamina to complete the Star Wars kill.
I think you're actually looking at my face line.
No, I'm right now looking at the TikTok.
Yeah. So yeah, got a template mimicking what she's done, thrown together on Vegas. All I have to do is just import the videos, and then it just does all the stuff itself. Find the funny ones that don't require further context. There's one on there. It's the ice sliding one. 40,000 freaking plays.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's.
Oh my god, I see it right here.
Yeah, like I don't know why people love this one so much. I showed it to Lars and he just pissed himself laughing. I was just like, really?
All right, let's see if we can like see this with sound. If that still works. I don't know if it does. I don't think it does.
Maybe it was just too genuine.
But yeah. It's fun, dude. It's fun. Like, I like you're getting into different things. I've always had people like tell me like, go get into TikTok. It's like that's where like everyone is at right now. And I've always been like, what do I do on TikTok? So
well,
I'm happy.
I think the important thing is that don't stick with just one place. I mean, I probably will repeat this when it comes to Joe Rogan. Did you say his name was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who signed on with Spotify. Like, if you just put your stuff in one place, all it's going to amount to is, a subset of people going, I can't. Sorry, you're just going to end up with situations like with Mixer not doing particularly well.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway.
Let's move on from this. There is like one more thing which I kind of wanted to share a little bit, which I've just found really, really cool. Just very quickly before we get into what have I played this week. But sometimes there are things on YouTube which like make me a little bit sad. Sometimes there are things on YouTube which make me very, very happy. And one of those things was right here. This channel right here is called Dad, How Do I? This channel was started in April of 2020, like a month ago, 2 months ago, by a guy who like lost his father at like age 12. I don't know whether you lost him because he passed away or whether you lost contact with him. But because of that, he grew up without having like advice from like his father on like everyday things. Like how do you fix toilets? How do you like hang up a shelf and all that sort of stuff. And he decided like, you know what? Let me just like make a YouTube channel where I'm just gonna like upload these videos to like help people out that might like need this advice, that might not have a dad to like help me out. And like I think his daughter posted on Facebook and people picked up on it and like this shit went viral. And like he just shot from like about 1,000 subscribers at most to like 1.97 million subscribers right now. And like it's honestly like I just really enjoy it. I just really enjoy like seeing people like latch on to someone that like it's really humble, deserves it. Like it's like this, some people feel that YouTube is becoming like this like very made thing, or like you can only succeed if you're with big television networks, and this is like an everyday guy just getting there and getting 2 million subscribers in a week. I just wanted to share that. I just like that. I just thought it was fun.
Yeah. No, I like one of my favorite YouTubers is Binging with Babish. Just like I love my food. I do not cook. But there's something nice about the way he does his videos. It's just like, I find them very entertaining.
Mm-hmm. As the video says, that transcended dadhood is now everyone's dad. He is the internet dad now, so that's fun. Like, I really enjoy it. I was expecting like him to grow like a little bit because I saw it pop up on Reddit and like on like a couple of other like Twitter and stuff. I was like, well, he's probably gonna get like 200,000 or something because most of the time these things people don't really follow through. But like 2 million. That's amazing, man. Anyway, let's move on to what have you played last week? What have you been playing, Drew, this week, especially yesterday with your day off? What's been going on?
So I've just to do the highlights. I've gotten back into World of Warcraft, which is potentially a bad thing.
I've seen a lot of people get into World of Warcraft. I mean, Griddark has been getting back into it as well. Has there been something new?
It's leading up to the new expansion, which should be sometime at the end of this year. But I've not played it for like 2 years. Like I played it in August 2018, I think, around then, when the expansion first came out, and then I've just not touched it since. And then like I was not happy with the expansion at all. I just had to walk away from it, and then I've come back just to, I do enjoy WoW. It's just the plot right now is just very, very bogus. Also, I've been playing some Monaco with Thalion, which has there's the games in chill, which will come out in about 35 minutes.
Yay.
And that got delayed because it required a lot of editing. And then recording the next gaming and chill, which is Diablo 3 with Lou. Honestly, I missed Diablo 3. I thought I was done with it, but picked it back up, played with our powerhouse characters, and it was just like, yep, no, I actually really enjoy this chaos.
I'm glad to hear that, like, you're like coming back and enjoying it. Most of the time, like, that's a good thing. Like, if you're a little bit tired of a game, just like take a step back, come back to it, like maybe a week later, a month later, a year later, 2 years later, and there's still something to make you fall in love with it. So that's good. That's good.
Yep. What about you?
For me personally, yesterday I went back into Anthem on stream, which oh boy, I was like, I've always had like I wanted to get back into it because it's been like over a year since it's launched, and sometimes we're quick to judge. Like I pre-ordered Anthem. I will never pre-order a game ever again. I've been very badly burnt by that. But I played 6 whole hours of Anthem, and then I knew that it wasn't for me. But again, like I kind of did the same with Destiny 2. When I played it for the first time, I played it on stream, and I was kind of like, I don't know, because I wasn't really following the story, and I was like, dude, this makes no sense. And then like later on, I picked it up like a couple of weeks later because then I got it on PC, and I was like, you know what, let me just play it not on stream. Let me just like focus on what the story says. And I was kind of like, okay, I can see how people get into it, and like I learned to enjoy it for the things that I enjoyed it for. So I was like, you know what? It's been a year that Anthem has come out. Why not try and do this like with Anthem? See like whether they've improved something, whether there's things that like I missed. So I've kind of started over on stream with Anthem again. Maybe I'll continue it. I don't know. Conclusion, like long story short, it's still roughly the same. I think that the thing that they really missed out on is that like you're pretty much right from the start, you're a side character of the game. Like you do like all the jobs, and like you're just the person that returns to the fort when everything epic has happened, and you just are there to like talk to people like, hey guys, what did you guys do? And then they're like, oh yeah, we did this, and then they're like, okay, well you just go and like fix something over there, and that's kind of what Anthem feels like.
Right.
But it's been fun to get back into it, and like a lot of people like enjoyed it and like shared memories about Anthem and Fallout 76, which apparently has been like getting good again. I've seen so many people play that.
I don't think you pay me money to play Fallout.
Well, let's put it out to the test if anyone is willing to pay your money to play Fallout. I mean, they'll also pay money to play Fortnite.
Yeah, I think you'd have to pay me a lot of money to play Fortnite.
Oh man. Nvidia says, don't know if you know this, but the team that's doing the Anthem redesign made a post about how they're remaking the game. Oh yeah, I heard about a remake 2.0. It's not out yet, but I'm curious about it because I mean, like, I hope this game gets better and better because I put in $60, and I'd rather get something worth of that $60.
I'm honestly, I'm surprised, in a good way, that EA just didn't ditch the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would have thought they would have just gone, whatever, chuck it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised too. Also because, like, I don't know, but it does, like, there are definitely people that really enjoy Anthem, but I haven't really come them across so much. It's like I've seen many live service games where like people aren't really happy with them at the time, or like at the current time or the times before. But then you're here with some very vocal people that are super like into it and are super amazed by it. And I just don't feel like Anthem fanbase is that. It doesn't seem that big to me. Maybe it's way bigger and I'm just missing it. But it's like it doesn't seem like it's so exceptionally big that they like force EA to continue to do this, but still they do it. And like, more power to them. Like, really, I appreciate that they're continuing to put effort behind it, and I hope that the remake 2.0 is going to be amazing.
I genuinely, I would have just thought they would have gone, whatever, chuck it.
Yeah, Me too, man. Me too. All right. Let's move on to community comeback.
Yep.
We probably need to see if this name is correct, if we need to change it. But anyway, YouTube comments. What has been left about the YouTube comments from last time? So last time we talked about, oh boy, I completely forgot the name. I completely just wiped it off. But we were talking about something. Let me get the title of the stream.
Wasn't it the cross compatibility with? No.
Yeah,
It
how
was
a live
games
stream.
as a service. Yeah.
Games as a service ending on console. We were talking about like with the upcoming console, like Neo Cycle, like games as a service will end on console, like, and how will that look like? Well, Jay responded, JJ24. They had like a really interesting comment. Very long, like I'm gonna shorten it down a little bit. They say that overall, that regardless of medium, whether you buy digital or physical, nothing will last forever. And I think they're quite right about that. Coming back to like the live service element, like the live service thing, like we often like associate live service with like the monetization tactics that go behind it. But they say like live service doesn't always equate like the monetization and engagement tactics that go behind it. So like the things that like try to get you to pay, try to get you to continue to play forever and ever and ever. They say that like it's very common, but it doesn't necessarily have to be in a live service. And like one of the major burnout factors that comes around for live services is like the fear of missing out with limited content releases, which are also used in most of them. The DLC and update convenience does come at like a preservation cost. So like, long story short, it's kind of like, yeah, like this thing that we can upload and download, like the way that we can download extra things to a game comes at a cost that we can't really preserve the game, which we have. About the console generation that's coming up is like it's just a symptom of the live service issues. I think we kind of addressed this too, where we were talking about the consoles just highlight one thing that's coming way closer for like console people than it will be for like PC people or just the end of the life cycle. But they also they also specified something which we didn't touch on, that like it's not just like the like the new hardware that's coming out. It's also like parts for the old hardware. Like if parts don't get made for old consoles, like they'll ultimately become unsustainable anyway. So like you can't continue to support them even if you want to as like new as like console makers. And like the hardware changes are also very important to keep in mind of. Like PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, they both use like the x86 version below it. So like that's a way different like system than like the PS4.
Sorry. Repeat that last bit. They're using x86. They're using 32-bit processors.
Yeah.
Wow.
So like their entire like the way that the games are running on the hardware is way different than the PS4. So like that's why these two systems can't be like, you can't just say like, okay, I'm going to copy it over from the one to the other, because they're going to be entirely different. And who knows, maybe PS4 to PS5 is going to be entirely different too. And PC, basically, even though we're saying PC is amazing because it will continue forever and ever, it still has the same issues with like OS support, like Windows 7, Windows Vista. Like I don't think anyone's got that anymore. Windows 8, like those things are all going to be dropped, and if like if you need to upgrade that OS too. But even more so with hard drive sizes. Like if you look at Final Fantasy 7 Remake, that's 100 plus gigabyte. Red Dead Redemption 2 is also 150 plus gigabytes to like install. So like if you just have a computer and like you want to play those games, like most of the time you're also going to have to like upgrade like your equipment. So it's much more like, it's not just something that's solely isolated to like consoles, they say. It's something that's also across the board on PC, which I do very much agree with. It's just that with console, it's like highlighted right now because the new console generation is coming up. So it's like it's more like a highlight of a symptom, which is kind of like across the entire board.
Yeah.
So,
No, I certainly agree with that, but I do feel that at least with older generations, like we're talking much older generations of consoles, there's certainly ways to preserve the existence of the game. So, like the old Sonic the Hedgehog game, find ROMs of the original game like online somewhere, maybe less scrupulous, but you could still find it. Whereas, obviously the argument before was there are more and more games these days that you just can't play anymore. Like there's plenty of ones that I wish I could play again. I mean, Blood Omen Legacy of Kain, one of my favorite games ever. You can't play it on PC anymore because it was like a Windows 98 or 2000 game sort of thing. It's like really, really old PlayStation. But if you actually have the PlayStation game and a working PlayStation, which they're making mini versions of, you could play the game again. So I mean, that is certainly one way to preserve it, even if they don't reprint the game.
I do wonder though, because at that time when they were making these cartridges or they were making these games at that time, and you bought them, and then like the console generation ended, like the way to preserve them outside of like the disc or the cartridge was to like take out the files from like the data carrier and put them like on another storage medium, which basically technically I don't think was really like allowed, or they really wanted you to do that at the time. And like the way that they preserved like on ROM sites and stuff like that, like I don't think that that's something that they at the time they were like looking for people to do, and they were like applauding people to do. I don't think they do that right now, but it's something that people did, and because of that, like these things are widely available. As long as you use them with like owning the original copy, like you're fine in the grayscale area.
Yeah.
But because of that, like it's possible right now, and only recently these companies have come around and said like, okay, we're gonna like do this thing which people have been doing for years, this emulation thing, and we're gonna like do it ourselves and make these things. But at the time, that wasn't a very common thing. Wouldn't you say that like the live services right now might be in a similar area where like back then, like the required like having this data, like having this game was on this like this physical thing which could deteriorate and break, and like they had to be extracted, which wasn't really an encouraged or legal process at the time. But because of that, they could be preserved like much, much longer. And right now, what we have, like, we don't have the problem of like capturing it on different storage things, data places. We have the problem that it's like it needs authentication from online servers. Like it needs authentication from things that are constantly online. And if that were to be like avoided, if there were to be a workaround on that, like these things could be preserved in the same way that these ROMs could be. But in order to do that, that would require some like illegal or like grayscale moral activity, which might be similar to like what like the emulating was back in the day. And maybe if that's being done by like an enthusiast community, maybe that will later on turn into, oh, now the developers are starting to do that, and they'll do this thing where they're like, oh, we're making an offline version for this game, and then like that gets taken up. Wouldn't that be something similar?
Yeah, it's I think people will always try to make money from something that they've already bought. I mean, like, how that's what DLCs are all about, is just to make more money out of something that people have already bought. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if bigger name companies, the original producers of the Sega Mega Drive, the PlayStation 1, the Xbox 360, the Commodore 64, wouldn't be surprised if whoever owns those licenses, patents, whatever, would turn around and just, go to town. I think maybe one company that wouldn't do it and would rather remaster everything would probably be Nintendo. I think they wouldn't want to rehash the old stuff. They would like to make fresh new stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they have been doing it since like the Wii era, where they're like you can get emulations of old games on like your Wii. You can buy it from like the Wii channel, and like I think you can also just do it on your Switch right now. You can buy old Nintendo games. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to I think our topics. Let's start out with like the titular topic, or shall we? Actually, let's start out with the top topic.
Start with the big one. Start with the big one.
I mean, we can start with the titular topic of Doom, because I think that's like the most interesting. Let's go. Doom Eternal is actually listening to their fan base. Oh my freaking god, they actually do it.
So, I own Doom Eternal.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't get to. Sorry. Let's back this up a little bit. I played Doom 2016, and I seriously didn't like it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like how limiting it was. I didn't like how it was trying to be this thing that Doom typically was not. It didn't feel like a horror game in the slightest. It didn't feel like a shooter. It just felt like I'm in a box. You must kill everything in the same box as you. Now that you have done this, the doors have opened. You may now proceed to the next box. I hated that. But Doom Eternal rather, has a lot of the same features, a lot of the same elements as Doom 2016. But the things that people didn't like, they're hiding a lot better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stuff where, you're in a box. Yes, you're still in a box, right? But you won't see the edge of the box before you kill the monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Brilliant. That's a huge step forward. Or you'll see the edge of the box, but as soon as you've killed the last monster, another monster will bust through the box. So you're still fighting in the same box, but after you've killed that monster, you can then proceed to the box that they originally came from. So there's loads of different ways of disguising it. Same with the movement mechanics. Same with the abilities to get ammo. They really, really listened to the player base. Now, I don't think we actually brought this up no, we didn't bring it up in the FrameCast, but what we did bring up was the whole anti-cheat system that Valorant, wasn't it?
Yeah, Valorant.
Yeah, Valorant had brought in by Riot Games. Now, we highlighted all those problems, ran on the O-ring, it ran on, so basically super admin access to your computer, it could do anything to your computer, blah, 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 blah. People were not happy, right? Denuvo turned out to release the same technology shortly before or after, I'm not entirely sure, as Valorant. And very recently, Doom Eternal had updated the game code to include this functionality of Denuvo Anti-Cheat, not to be confused with Denuvo Anti-Tamper. So Anti-Tamper is for piracy, whereas Anti-Cheat is this whole O-ring, I could destroy your computer if I really wanted to, crap. Now, a lot of the player base were really super upset at Bethesda's decision to put this in with Doom Eternal. I'm saying it's Bethesda's decision because they're the publisher, whereas I don't think it's id.
It's id software.
No, I don't know if it was id. I think there's another company that actually did it, but id own the name for Doom, right? They own the computer terms and everything for Doom. Mm-hmm. Even though it's not them who had developed it. It's same with Castle Wolfenstein. The new Wolfenstein games and things. It's still owned by id, but it's not done by id. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that was installed, and people were really upset because this was not part of the initial sale. This was widely upsetting. People could not get a refund. People, it was just like, well, what the shit do we do? So it's very similar to the whole microtransaction situation with Red Dead Redemption 2. So, yeah. Oh, look, there's no microtransactions. Good review. Like, haha, microtransactions, we've got all your good reviews. But at least with this, when when Doom Eternal was getting review bombed by the audience who did not like the idea of the addition of Denuvo Anti-Cheat, Bethesda turned around and said, right, we're removing it. Mm-hmm. Which was great because I haven't finished the game yet and I want to spend time finishing the game. So, and it's for a system that people typically don't care about when it comes to Doom. So
yeah, so basically, like I think like about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, they basically just turned around and said, "Here you go, have an anti-cheat that has access to your PC that makes for a very good vulnerability. If someone hacks that, like they can do a lot of weird things with your PC. Just have that. You couldn't deny that. That was installed in your system, and then like, well, even if you wanted to just do solo, because it was anti-cheat for the multiplayer, which like is out in some capacity, but they're planning to do more, which is why they kind of introduce it right now. People were upset about that. And, like, I felt the same way. Like, I wanted to continue to play Doom more, but, like, right now, I was like, no, I don't want that shit on my system. Get that away from me. So like people were upset because like this got in like 1 or 2 months after like Doom came out. Um, so now like they've actually turned around and said like, okay, well we've seen what's been going on. We've seen that you guys don't like it. Um, so we are moving it away. The anti-cheat was added with the intent of preventing the negative reaction to the delayed anti-cheat on Doom 2016. So in Doom 2016, they like there was some negative reaction to like delaying the anti-cheat system on there, and they were also wanted to prevent their like cheating within their multiplayer battle mode and the upcoming invasion mode, which is supposed to be like a mix between campaign and multiplayer. So though it's been claimed before that like the best way to prevent cheaters, like the rank 0 anti-cheat, is required. That's what Valorant has been saying, and that's also what like they're saying here, that this is like the best way to like avoid it. This rank 0 like anti-cheat with Riot hasn't been proven successful in keeping all cheaters out. Like people can still cheat with this game, while this system like is supposed to keep them all out with like the negative side effect of putting your computer at risk in a way. So yeah, they're running it back with like future options. Like they want to bring it back, but they're rolling it back right now, and they want to have future options where campaign only players, like if you just want to play solo, that you're not like forced to have it. You can choose to not have it and just play it only, and then to introduce it when competitive play becomes more prominent. So like they introduce it when like it becomes like of actual interest. It has been said, the executive producer said that like this move wasn't forced upon to it by Bethesda, and nor that Denuvo had any negative performance impact, which people also should suspect it. So that's kind of the story. I'm honestly very happy that they listened and that they removed this thing.
I mean, like I get having this sort of thing for competitive multiplayer, but like, why can't it just be for that? Why? Like maybe it's a case of, like. Even so, I would want to play regular multiplayer with no interest of going up ladders and leaderboards and all this crap. It's just I'm not interested in that stuff. I just want to play a game, have fun, and enjoy it. Right?
So now that we've seen like Valorant come in with this rank 0 anti-cheat, now like we see it with Denuvo, do you think that this will be like a more prominent thing where it's like an industry trend where all like anti-cheat systems will eventually have in a very short term like all rank 0 like access, or want that?
So I'm just reading what Nvidia's said. Valorant has been saying that
Valorant has been saying that while apparently having a massive cheating problem in the closed beta alone, Riot's response has been, haha, we lied and we didn't actually put the entire anti-cheat into the game yet. That's interesting. I mean...
freaking hell.
I don't think so.
Really good way to win your audience. So
it's just like saying like, dude, we have the best prison in the world. Like no one can escape from this. Absolutely, guys, give us money. No one can escape from this, and all the prisoners escape. And they're like, well, that wasn't the real thing. We were. That was
only part of it.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good, but I mean. Okay, so I personally do not have a problem with like a rank singer or server access when it comes to like a gaming machine. So like when it comes to like the upcoming Xbox and the upcoming PlayStation, if they have like kernel access like anti-cheat in them, which they probably will have if they don't already have it, like I got no problem with that because those are just like dedicated gaming machines, and most likely they're going to be like enclosed environments where like they're just going to be like testing on them. To a much further extent, and they're like very much like the same systems all around. Whereas like this system, or this like when it comes to PC, it has to deal with all sorts of different systems. So most likely there's going to be more security weaknesses. But even if there are security weaknesses on console, I don't even really mind like if something happens to the console where I have to like reset it, or like I have to go to the service center and like they have to like plug in new hardware, which makes it like all brand new again. Like I'm fine. I don't care. Like it sucks, but it's just a gaming machine. Fine. Most important data is stored in the cloud these days anyway. But when it comes to my personal computer, like I don't want that to be at risk. So like I really hate that idea. I would not like to have rank 0 access like on my PC if I also use it for work. And I think that that's a very important point for me. And one thing that you also brought up is like, if I don't need it, if I don't like, especially because Doom was such a solo game, like that's like the majority of why people play it. But even if I just want to play like regular multiplayer and I don't care if there are cheaters around me, like it's fine. As long as it's not like too prominent, but like it's fine. I don't care. I'm just playing for fun. Then like, yeah, like give me the option to like not have it. And then like, if I want to like play competitively, like give me the option to like have it, but like that's like my choice. Yeah.
No, I'm in complete agreement with that because like I want to play Doom for the single player. I don't care to play it for the multiplayer elements to it, and I'm glad that sorry, I think you read out that it was id that did decide to do this, not Bethesda.
Yes, that's what the executive producer posted.
I take back my naysaying of Bethesda because I do not like the company, but that's my opinion. So I think it's good that id went back on what they've done to take it out, and like even then when you just said you uttered the words like, I don't mind it playing regular multiplayer if there's a bit of cheating, as long as it's not too prevalent. That first off sparked two things in my head. One, what if the reason why they're doing this is because it is so difficult to regulate all the reports of cheating, so on and so forth. So this is like a step one countermeasure, like, oh, that person was using some aimbot hacks, whatever. Well, there's no way they could have been doing it because we had this software in place, right? And two, it actually makes me think of the days when I used to play a lot of Heroes of the Storm. So for those of you who do not know, Heroes of the Storm, it was not technically dead yet, but I'm still saying was. It was a MOBA that was done by Blizzard Entertainment that pretty much died a death. Beginning of last year, they turned around and just basically said, "Yeah, we're not supporting this anymore." It wasn't making Activision the money that they wanted it to make, and it was riddled with bots. With people using bots just to get the like, why? It doesn't make it entertaining. It makes it just stressful, and as one of the big reasons why I stopped playing. So when you said to me when you said here that you would still play the regular multiplayer of Doom Eternal, even if there was a little bit of cheating, that actually made me think, oh, maybe I do want to install this software.
So, first of all, like, I don't think that this software, like, that they're introducing is necessarily, like, a first step. Because I think that, like, over the years, they've always had this software to, like, combat it, like, on, like, over a large scale. Why do, like, multiplayer games in general, like, doesn't every single match in most games have cheaters in it? Like, also because not everyone was a cheater, but also because their anti-cheat has been rather effective. But when it comes to competitive play, especially when it comes to like the competitive like world of it, like you need to be very, very strict because like the incentives for winning in competitive, especially on the really high end, are getting higher and higher and higher. Like I've also been like playing a bit of like that Call of Duty Mobile. Like I've mentioned it before. But that thing is doing like a competitive thing. And like I think there's a couple million on the line that you could win if you win like the world championship of it. And that's like a mobile game that like I don't know anyone, like I don't think that many people really seriously play. But like there's already that on the line. And it's like, so like with the incentives getting higher, like you need to be very, very sure that you get everything perfect when it comes to like those high stakes things because people are going to cheat more when there's more at stake. So I think that this thing is supposed to be like a very fine tooth comb, which is still like fallible, but I mean, it should be very, very fine tooth. Now, when it comes to what you say with like, I really, really do not want cheaters. It's like me neither. But like with as an example, what I mean with not too many is like, back in the day, I used to play Modern Warfare 2 a lot on PlayStation 3, and like once in like once every 2 weeks you'd come across a lobby where like someone would have like a hack lobby where like you could jump twice as high or things, and I would just like exit that, and I would have like a real good lobby again. Right now, like you come them across a lot more. If you go back to the PlayStation 3, because like not a lot of people play them anymore, like you come across these hack lobbies a lot more. Also because like Activision isn't really like counting it anymore, working on it anymore. So it's like, you know, every 2 matches you might find a new one. If you like leave and you want to find a new one, you will have to like wait a long time, and that might be a hack lobby too. So that's what I consider too much cheating. But like if I'm not trying to play competitively, and like if it's like, hey, you know, once every 2 weeks or once every month, you might like run into one, but if you exit one and you run into like a new one, it's gonna be fine. I'm kind of like, well, then I don't mind. Then, like, I'd rather have that than, like, a potential big security flaw on this machine where I also do my very important work, store my photo memories of, like, my family and stuff like that. I don't want to put that at risk for, like, missing out on, like, one cheater match, which I can leave.
Yeah.
It's like,
I completely agree with what you're saying here. I mean, the big thing for me is with... Crap, what was...
Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah, with Heroes of the Storm, like you were saying, like now with Modern Warfare 3, that it's like you have to wait for the next lobby, and it's then quite possibly another hack lobby. With Heroes of the Storm, every match I was playing had at least one bot, and you could tell because if you spoke to everyone, if you just like basically you just did a hello check, and if people did not respond, 9 times out of 10, that was a bot.
Mm-hmm.
So it got to a point where we were doing matches, and 3 of the 5 players on our team were bots. And you could tell because they walked everywhere. They didn't get on their mounts. You could tell because they would feed. Do you know what the term feeding is?
Please explain.
Oh, so basically, you get experience for each enemy you kill.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You get quite a bit of experience. Feeding is where you do stupid things and you run into the line of fire, get yourself killed, and you are giving the opponent XP, right?
Okay.
That's what feeding means. And when you had that with Heroes of the Storm, it was just like, with these bots, it just came to a point of like, I resent playing this game anymore.
Well, I feel like at that point, like, it must be a very, very common security flaw that they're breaching. And if that's the case, like if it's such a wild prevalent way that people are cheating, that must be a more widely prevalent way that people know how to cheat the system. And at that point, like the developer should know about it. And if they don't act upon it, then that's most likely their decision to act upon it, to not act upon it. So like that's something where like even the anti-cheat wouldn't really be able to help. Anyway, let's see. The video says it should also be noted the anti-cheat turns off software without notifying you, and that includes coding drivers for your PC, so you can enjoy the smell of medium rare silicon while playing a match.
Oh, actually, that's something that I want to highlight. So Denuvo, the anti-tamper software, is synonymous with destroying SSDs.
Yeah, you told me about that before.
Yeah, so like, you know, of all the companies to go with, you went with fucking Denuvo. Awesome. I liked that hard drive. It wasn't a steaming wreck before.
Yeah. Well, like this is something again which comes back to what I feel when it comes to like things that they do on PC. Like if this thing happens to my console, I don't care, because most likely if a game company does it, like if that's the source, most likely there will be some way that like I can get my like hard drive replaced, because if it's a very common issue, you can get that replaced, whatever. And I don't care, because like ultimately, like I might lose some game process, but fuck it, I don't care. But if it happens on my computer, where I have pictures of like family members that may be deceased, or like very important times that like I had with my family, and I'm just playing a game on it, because let's face it, not everyone has the money to like have both a gaming PC and a working / storage machine, you know. And if that crashes and I lose that, like fuck me, I'm gonna be angry as fuck. So like that is something that like I like for me is a really, really big difference. I'm like, I don't like, if I want to play games, I want to make sure they're safe, because like if they break my system, like I'm gonna lose a lot more. But yeah,
I completely agree with you, and yeah, I'm glad that id has removed it, because it is such a shitty piece of software.
yeah. Want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah, let's move on to the next topic.
So let's go with the Ubisoft one, which you introduced. Let's go.
Right. Okay. So, where to start? I mean,
Well,
way back. Huh?
Ubisoft may re-release the Scott Pilgrim versus the World game. That's the title of the
So,
topic.
so that's the title of the topic. So some people may or may not know. I really like this game. It was an Xbox Live game that you could only play if you had an Xbox 360. As soon as the Xbox 3 or the Xbox Live account migrated from from an Xbox 360 to an Xbox One account, you lost access to this game. So, even though you bought it, gone. Now, this was a beat 'em up game, not to be confused with a fighter. So it's not like Tekken or anything like this. This was a side-scrolling beat 'em up game. It was great fun. Now, me and a friend of mine, we loved this game to death. And it had a lot of progression behind it. It featured a lot of the elements from both the movie and the comics. It was just a great experience. Now, typically, when you have these games that are on these platforms in a digital-only presence, then when that platform goes away, you typically lose the game, especially if it's only on one platform. But when the author of Scott Pilgrim versus the World wrote, so he put out a tweet to Ubisoft saying, could we see a, God, how do I say this? Yeah, could we see a re-release of Scott Pilgrim versus the World? They put out a thinking emoji, and that, oddly enough, sparked quite a lot of interest, especially in terms of gaming journalism. I think, did I link you IGN?
Yeah, I think you did.
Yeah, so, and to catch the eye of someone like IGN or, any of the other ones like GameSpot, whatever, that to me is like, that's a lot of significance. I mean, even after this, I was personally inspired to message Square Enix and say, hey, could we please get a re-release of the Legacy of Kain games? Sod's Law, that sparks an interest, and, they actually bloody do it. But obviously, it has more of an impact when it's the author of Scott Pilgrim himself even. So I really like the idea that there is still enough sway that older games that exist in the ether, much like we were talking about before in the last episode, the fact that they could come back and be rekindled in some form of maybe another console release or even on PC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I can't imagine it would be particularly hard to just emulate the game.
Do you think that this might be more possible, that the reason that these games were delisted when it came to the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PS3 era was because that was a very tryout time for download games and service games? Because I feel if I look at how the Xbox One works right now with their online store, that thing's integrated with Microsoft now too. So I don't think that they're gonna distance themselves from the Xbox One, the next Xbox store, as they did with the 360 store, because those two things were very different. And as the previous generation and this generation were very different, in hardware as well. Maybe right now, because this has been set up to align more with PC, we might see a better continuation of things than we did before, and because of that, they can more reliably bring back older things.
Sorry, could you repeat the question?
So because the system right now has been much better streamlined for the future, where because we see right now the Xbox One Windows store is the same as the PC Windows store. which with the X360 wasn't the case because that was like very new and experimental.
Yeah.
We are now able to like maybe have like this thing can like exist for a much longer period of time, and therefore they're like more, it's safer for them to like bring back old games. Whereas like if you look at like the Wii to Wii U era, like it would make no sense to like bring back games from like the Wii to the Wii U because that storefront would cease to exist like within one console generation, and this storefront might continue to exist for multiple generations.
I think a lot of it comes down to backwards compatibility. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck, look at Skyrim. I mean, I'm pretty sure since its release, there has been a version of Skyrim for every console since its release. I mean, I imagine, yeah. Let's just wiki this. Let's just wiki this, right? Wiki Skyrim. I mean, fuck, they redid it for fucking VR. Right, PC, PS3, Xbox 360, PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you really need to re-release a game, or release a game 3 times? Like, what happens with the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox One 0x 011010x 01 when that comes out? Are they going to get a copy of Skyrim as well? 50 quid says they are.
Yeah, probably. I mean, like, you see that with Minecraft. That's also, like, a continuing, reoccurring game because it's, like, such a popular thing that people so like. So, like, if there's enough interest, they'll bring it out.
So I think that is a huge influence on whether or not a game or piece of software is compatible with future tech.
Also, one fun thing, which I wanted to, like, interject real quickly.
Sure.
Have you ever heard about the N-Gage?
Yeah.
So
the
N-Gage,
Nokia phone.
yeah, the N-Gage used to be like the Nokia gaming phone, which they made before like gaming phones were a thing, and it really didn't like survive that well because like people didn't like it. And it was like it's like this is the thing I have on the screen right now. It looked really weird, but so like I actually recently saw a video about it, and I went to look for the games that released. So like they had a Call of Duty release on that. They had 2 FIFA games released on that, but they also had the Elder Scrolls Travels release on that as well. It's like
What the fuck is Elder Scrolls Travel?
I don't know what it is. I think it will be some like weird as like it's a role playing video game developed by for the N-Gage. Part of the Elder Scrolls Travels it was released on. I have no idea, but it's like, oh my god, like there are series, there are games like that will reach everything, even like this very obscure N-Gage thing. It's insane. I like it. But yeah, as you said, like some things will permeate every single market, even how obscure it may be, because people will buy it because the name is there.
This sort of stuff is just exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
But so to answer the question, do I think that with future generations, these games will become more available because the markets are sort of tied together? I'm going to say yes and no. I think for more niche cases, like Dead Cells, like Scott Pilgrim, like oh crap, what's another good one? There's one sort of like on the tip of my tongue I can't actually think of. Maybe Moonlighter. So it's stuff that is stuff that could see through the generations. Definitely Dead Cells. I think that yes, you will see them on marketplaces that will have a permanence to them. But I also feel that there are games like it's in the best interest of the publisher to re-release for a 3rd time Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it's Like, basically, if anything, the gap is just going to get wider. But I think there is going to be fewer niche titles for just one platform. I think that those niche titles, again, like Dead Cells, will span multiple platforms. And I think especially covering PC, because that's where a lot of the niche titles end up. That's where a lot of people enjoy playing them, is PC over console.
Mm-hmm. I think like I think a large part of like having things available on multiple platforms, like as many platforms as possible now, probably as well, is because like it's beneficial that like people that only play PC because they believe they're the master race, or people that play only console
I,
because like
I,
they only
I
have
don't,
that console.
I don't think it's the master race thing. Just gonna say.
Well, people may have their preferences for whatever reason. Maybe you think PC sucks, but it's the only thing you have. It's like having things available to more different markets is like a good thing. Like because like I might only have this one thing, and if there's availability for something, that's good. And I feel that like the barrier between like PS4 and Xbox exclusives, like at least they're sharing a little bit more now with some cross-playing games. I don't think the exclusives will go away, but there might be some more leeway, especially with Xbox and like PC right now on the Microsoft Store, where like Xbox exclusives are kind of coming to PC very much more regularly. That being said, I don't think that you'll ever see Nintendo games on any other system than the Nintendo official consoles, because I don't think they're going to be too happy to break that.
Hold on. Let me just double check something. I don't know if nope, yeah. Sorry, I was no wait, no, that's still Monster Hunter World. Whereas I'm trying to think. Were there Monster Hunter games? I think I remember there being Monster Hunter games on PSP. Oh yeah, there's Monster Hunter G on PS2. So yeah, I hadn't heard of Monster Hunter games outside of Nintendo, but obviously they do exist.
Yeah, they do. Shall we move on to the next topic?
What? Yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, let's do this. So, Joe Rogan signs exclusivity deal with Spotify for his Joe Rogan Experience Podcast. This is something that came up last week, which I've been watching and listening to his podcast for quite a while now, so that was quite interesting to me. And like right at the start, you right at the start of the Framecast, you were talking about you're very limiting yourself if you only commit to one platform. So like Joe Rogan moving to like Spotify for like one platform, that will probably like hurt his audience, and that will probably not be a very good idea. What if I say that, like, against that, I would put $100 million? What would you say?
What if you were to pay me $100 million to sign up just for one platform?
Yes.
I would have to investigate I mean, it. God, it's difficult. It really is difficult. Because this is not my job. I mean, if you were to turn to me and say to me, you would pay me $100 million to move from one company to another. First off, that's a truck ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I wouldn't do it because, call me crazy, I think it's really important that wherever you work, you're happy. So, in terms of content creation, like, you know, my content existing exclusively on YouTube, or there's let's say there's another YouTube 2, right? And they turn around and say, "Oh, we'll pay you $5,000 to migrate to YouTube 2." I would talk to my audience about it. I wouldn't exclusively just say yes, because my audience are the people that I'm doing my content for.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't easily put myself in Joe Rogan's shoes, but I do feel that, like, to me, a comparison is what? Oh God, what's his name? Ninja. who signed an exclusive deal with Mixer. And I heard earlier this week that Mixer's doing really badly. It's not able to compete with Twitch. And I'm not surprised. Twitch has got dominance. Right?
That's definitely the case. Though, like, the thing that I think when it comes to the Mixer situation is that Mixer wasn't really established, not at all, and they try to like use Mixer to like grow themselves. I think Spotify is already very much established. As far as I was aware, Joe Rogan's podcast wasn't available on Spotify just yet before this time, and I know of a couple of people that really would like to have that podcast on Spotify because like they're already using Spotify, like many people around here. And they're happy about this. I personally would love to have it more on YouTube. However, I think $100 million is a truck ton of money. Like how are you going to spend that? Given if you're 50 years old, like what he is, you're probably going to have to let's say you live to 100, you're going to spend $2 million a year and you're not going to be able to get through it entirely yet. It's like, that's a lot of money to get you settled. And as far as we've been aware, he's not going to have to change anything up on his content. So let's just read out the rest of the topic. So one of the most popular podcasts, the Joe Rogan Experience, has been signed exclusively to Spotify. Previously, the podcast was available on YouTube and other platforms, but on YouTube it had over 8.4 million subscribers. The podcast is scheduled to go to Spotify exclusively on September 1st. So that means that everywhere else the podcast will most likely be deleted. So you can't get it there. The 100 million deal, the 100 million money that he's getting has been very much speculated everywhere. I can't personally say that I have the contract to prove it, but since it's been thrown around so much on very, very, very many news sites, it's something which we can kind of roll with. And even if it isn't entirely that size amount, it's still fun. We can speculate with it and use that as a concept. So, bigger news, though, which it also says, is Spotify will also offer video options for this podcast. So Spotify is also introducing video to their platform, which is probably a good thing because Joe Rogan on YouTube has amassed over, I think, 2 billion views over his lifetime. So hell yeah, Spotify video options.
That's really interesting. That has really caught my attention. To the point of is this something that 10 o'clock or FrameCast could appear on? I'm not saying oh yeah, they pay for us to do it, but I'd love to have it in more than one place. The whole reason why I stopped supporting SoundCloud for 10 o'clock was it was costing me about £100 a year for every episode that was on there to be listened to maybe twice. And it was and when I stopped putting it on there, no one complained about it. And I've just saved £100 a year. So
yeah, I'm really curious as to what this means for Spotify, especially with their video version. Will they only allow selected individuals to upload video on there and use it as a video platform like that, which on the one hand, doesn't really make sense because one thing that makes online video so popular is that everyone has the availability to upload, and that makes for PewDiePie would have never blown up if he had to be already established for Spotify, but he could on YouTube because he could start on YouTube his channel and grow up there. On the other hand, if you make everyone available, everyone can upload, you're gonna have massive data thing, you're gonna have a massive data infrastructure that you need to set up, just like YouTube has, because people are uploading so much video and you need to be able to store that. So those are things which is kind of on Spotify's side to see how that will move out. If it does allow user uploads, that's going to be massively interesting because I don't think they're how competitively they will be compared against YouTube, but Spotify is very well known in the mainstream market, much unlike Mixer with the Ninja example. So I think that's going to be that's a very interesting thing. But coming back to what you were saying when it comes to hey, if someone were to offer you $100 million to move your content to a new platform without giving you restrictions on what you can and can't do, would you? And
no, but there are restrictions because you can't put it anywhere else.
Well, you can't put it anywhere else, but in your I think that when it comes to your your comparison to moving to a different job site. Like, there might be different ways that you would interact with your job. You would have a new job environment. He would still be doing it in the same podcast room. He would still be recording the same podcast. And maybe one of the things that like the Joe Rogan Experience has been very much played with is that like they would like look at clips or they would look at things that were happening. But if they would play any music, YouTube would just strike them down with a copyright system. So like that was a very big issue because like if you play 10 seconds of a clip where you were like in fair use reacting to, they would like take all the revenue from like a 2-hour podcast that's being listened to millions of times, which is a lot of revenue. So they stopped doing that, but maybe right now because Spotify has more rights over more music, maybe they're able to do that.
Now here's a question though. So
mm-hmm.
the clauses within the contract. So with YouTube, that content is free.
Yeah.
Right. People do not have to pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
Would they still have to start? Would they have to start paying for it with the with Spotify?
I'm not 100% read up on this, but as far as I've been aware, it's still going to be freely available. However, what you have with Spotify regular versus Spotify Premium is that if you're using it as a free user, you might have ads in between, and people don't know like how much the ads will be compared to YouTube. Just the way that YouTube has ads, and if you have Spotify Premium, you will not have the ads. So that's as far as people know or we know right now. But one thing that I like find rather curious, and I also like. I want to enhance this topic a little bit with also like PewDiePie signing recently an exclusivity contract with YouTube for his live stream. So like he used to be exclusive on the streaming platform DLive, which is another streaming platform that came around when Mixer signed with Ninja. PewDiePie is back on streaming with YouTube now. Got a contract for that too. Got paid for that to stream exclusively on YouTube now. He's been doing some live streams there too. Is that I'm kind of wondering like how, like what do exclusivity contracts mean when it comes to like independent like online creators? Because like as you were bringing up, like hey, if I get an exclusivity contract within my like for my show, I would discuss it with my viewers, and I think that's a very good thing to consider. On the other hand, though, I also feel that like oftentimes, especially when like your audience grows as big, that like there is interest for contracts with you as a creator. Like you're never gonna get uniformity within your community. So like if like you may have already stumbled upon this, and I've stumbled upon this even at my small size, that like if I want to change anything up about my format, that like there will always be people that don't like it, or if I don't change, there will be people that don't like it. So like at a certain point, you come at a point where no matter what you do, like people will be mad and people will unsubscribe. Even if you do nothing, people will be mad and people will unsubscribe. So at that point, isn't this more similar to, hey, I've been posting videos on YouTube all this time, now I'm posting it on somewhere else, or I've been streaming on this platform all this time, now I'm going to be streaming back to YouTube, and like I believe, because I personally feel this is the best for my channel or the way that I create content, that I should take this because it will give me more money to like either make better content, or just because like, hey, it's the thing that I created and I damn well do with it as I please. Like, do you think that's not a little bit of a balance in there?
I certainly think that if I was in his shoes, I don't know if he has a family, but if I was to have a family and I could say, right, you know, I am going to pay for you to do whatever you want, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ideally would like you to go to university. I would like you to get a well-paying job. But at the same time, if you decide to explore creativity, then I will pay for you to do that as well. So if you want to become a content creator, done. But what I will not do is pay for you to sit on your ass. Nothing. You know, you have to do something with your mind, because I know you have a very big and adaptive mind. You are not someone stupid. That is something certain I would do in my life. But the next thing I have is, if Joe Rogan was paid $100 million to swap platforms, does this mean he does not get any ad revenue or anything from Spotify? Is it just like the 100 million and that's it?
I wouldn't think so necessarily. It may turn out to be that case, but like I think most of the time when it comes to these exclusivity deals, it really comes down to, hey, I believe like numbers have been speculated, and again, these numbers are like not confirmed, but like these numbers have been going around a lot. That like most likely with like the amount of views that the podcast was getting from YouTube and other stations, that like on average the podcast would be already making like up to 50 million a year because of how many people were listening. So if you look at that, like having 100 million signing contract from like going from all the platforms that you're on right now to like this one single platform would be more in line, and then like the ads would make sense towards the future. At the same time though, like what we saw with Ninja, like when he signed with Mixer, like you would be able to sub for a free month to Ninja, and that was like of course for one single month, which Mixer all paid for by themselves. I don't know how that further goes into, because like I've never been part of an exclusivity contract like this, because it's never been like in my immediate vicinity, and I do not know personally people that have had such a contract. So I don't have experience with that I can comment on and say like, oh, that's the way it is. However, I don't expect it would be that way necessarily, because given the amount of revenue that the podcast generates, and given that like, you know, you want to keep encouraging like the creator in the future to like continue to create revenue for the platform as well for ads, like I don't think that they're gonna be like, oh, you're never gonna earn anything again. I think it's just like a signing thing, which like most of the time when it comes to,
I mean, there has to be some logistics behind it, because like say if PewDiePie's been paid I don't know 10 million to exclusively go to YouTube, right? In terms of live streaming, and he just turns around and says like, okay, I'm not live streaming anymore. I've transferred over to YouTube. I'm exclusively live streaming on YouTube. I'm not live streaming. They have to do something to protect their investment.
yeah,
So there probably has to be some clause in there saying like you have to stream this much.
yeah, most likely there is, but most likely like there will very likely be a way that they say like we need to have at least this many like podcasts or this many live streams from PewDiePie if we're signing you over. However, I don't think that they're going to say we're going to take all your super chat money, we're going to take all your ad revenue, because over the ad revenue and over the super chat money, they already take a cut. Like if Twitch were to like sign me right now and I were to like live stream on Twitch, the people that watch the stream and watch the ads before that, like Twitch takes like a cut of that, and like Twitch takes half of a cut from like every subscription that's being done. So like they're going to earn through like PewDiePie live streaming, they're earning money through PewDiePie live streaming. So like I think that like most likely they like it won't be that they say like, okay, we pay you like 10 million PewDiePie to like come over to YouTube and live stream, and you're never going to earn anything from doing that live stream because we paid you 10 million. I think it's more like, hey, we're going to pay him 10 million because like the like there is this worth in it, because we're going to get that out of him anyway, and we're also going to get it out of people that are going to be aspiring to be YouTube live streamers or make YouTube live streaming a better platform, because people see PewDiePie live streaming and then we're going to go on YouTube too. So I think that that's just definitely like the notoriety and like the expected people that are going to be joining the platform or using the platform more than they did before because of this person that they're signing. So yeah, let's see. I'm kind of on the fence on this one, because like the way that I mean is like one of the things that I put up is like, what does exclusivity mean for the openness and freedom of the internet media? So like one of the things that I really like the internet for, and one of the things that I really like the individual YouTube, Twitch, whatever, like, you know, the prosumer kind of media for, is that like it's very free floating. Like we can do this on Twitch, we can do this on YouTube, we can do this on many different platforms. And most of the time people choose to like bring it out to as many different platforms as possible. And if someone features like my video in like someone else's video, and like, you know, they're doing like a fair review about it, like we're not like big studios like UMG or something that will like slam down anything that might even resemble like our content, because we know that like with the internet it's better to like share your content around and like have everyone know and talk about it, because like, you know, that brings more attention to you, and it also shares like brings open the community of the internet. So I really like that. However, when it comes to like the exclusivity thing, like that seems to go against like the free open flowiness of the internet, because like it basically just takes everything away from like all the other platforms. It's just like, here we go, this is the only place where this thing will be, which brings it more to more traditional media. However, I can also see that if like the thing is that I just want to create content. Like I just want to like do things that I enjoy to do. And I love interacting with my audience on that. But like the thing is that like I'm never gonna like really regret like if someone comes around to me and says like if you do this if you don't stop doing this thing or like if you dare to change up your content I will unsubscribe. It's like dude like cool that you have criticism. Like I love criticism. However, I want to do things that I enjoy. And if like you don't enjoy seeing the things that I enjoy, then for my health, it's better if I, do things that I enjoy and maybe you're not going to be along for the ride. I respect that, but I got to do me. And I can also understand that when it comes to like PewDiePie or when it comes to like Ninja or when it comes to like Joe Rogan, if what they enjoy is doing podcasts, doing live streams, and they can just continue to do what they enjoy to do, but they get a buttload of money for something where they either stand behind or like it's good enough for them to like switch platforms. Like, isn't it good that like they just isn't it more like switching up your content kind of situation where it's like, hey, this is something that was going to make me happy. This is something that I will enjoy, and I can understand if you're not interested in this, fine, you'll unsubscribe.
So one thing that's just jumped into my head.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many views Joe Rogan would get, let's say per year?
I don't have it right here. Like he gets a couple million views per like video upload on YouTube, but he gets a lot more downloads from like outside like audio things.
Yeah, but like let's just focus on the YouTube side of things because I actually have numbers for that. But so how many like releases of his podcast does he do a week?
It varies very differently because he's always kind of like treated it like, oh, I do it for fun, sort of situation. Of course, he makes money off it, but like sometimes he'll upload 3 podcasts a day. Sometimes he won't upload for like 2 weeks. It just depends on like whenever he gets someone on. So there's no set release schedule. He's uploaded 1,481 podcasts so far.
So a while ago, I was doing some research on how many views did it take to get $1 on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
This was before the last. Is it before the last weird thing with I don't know, but I estimate it takes 1.1 thousand views for $1 for you to $1. And if he gets say 2 million views per episode, so that's 2 million divided by 1,152. So he would get 1.7 ish grand per episode, right? So say he was to release let's say he released 2 episodes a week, right? So that would be 52 times 2, yeah? So he would make 180,000 a year, right? Based off of the ad revenue of YouTube alone, right? This is all hypothetical stuff. Yeah.
So, first of all, I have some data here. Like on episode 910, Joe Rogan said that he gets 95 million downloads a month. So like listens a month, so that's 95 million across all platforms. And like since the monthly views on YouTube have gone up since that time by about 2.08%, it's most likely that he's on around 200 million views, listens, downloads a month across all platforms.
Well, okay, hold on. So 200,000. Sorry, 200 million.
200 million a month.
200 million a month. Right, divided by 1152. Jeez. Times 12. Right. So he makes 2 million a year, in theory, hypothetically, he makes $2 million a year just from the YouTube revenue.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, so like one thing that I do wonder though is like from
Sorry,
the like
point, because that might change what you're about to say.
okay.
For him to transfer exclusively to one platform, walking away from theoretically this 2 million a year would seriously impact his revenue stream, right? Because this is just one of the revenue streams that he gets stuff from. So the 100 million to transfer, like that can't possibly be just like a lifetime thing. That has to have a limited window of opportunity, because he is taking potentially a massive hit in terms of revenue to be exclusively on Spotify. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I do think that is in a sort of way like these are the bare minimum numbers when it comes to revenue. I think that the number is much more likely higher because I think that your subset, like your data set, is taken from like a lot of gaming YouTubers.
That's true.
And gaming is very much different. Like, gets very much different at rates than other styles of content. So there might be a difference in that. That being said, like there is probably like I don't know, but like what you say about it probably not being a lifetime, I can very well understand that too, because you saw it with PewDiePie last year. He signed with DLive, and now he's signed with YouTube again. So like these contracts can expire, but then again, like if it don't expire, like that could also be the case. That being said, I think it's also like very much a thing where it's like a try and see. I don't know, like if you get 100 million out of something, like would you like? I think one thing one thing to understand is that when it comes to creating content, at least for me, the way that I see it is that like I enjoy doing it, and if I can have some money to sustain myself and I can have some money to like continue to do this, I would be happy. And I don't think that every single content creator's goal is to generate as much money as possible. So if you are able to like sign yourself $100 million, like you're pretty much like gonna be good for a long time. At the same time, though, Joe Rogan also has his comedy that he does. He does comedy specials where he earns revenue from. He does commentating on martial arts tournaments where he gets money from. Like he has many different revenue streams. So I can very well say that this is like a side thing for him, where it's like it's something which he's involved in, but it's also something which he just enjoys talking to the guests that he sees. And like he's also come around and said like I don't read the comments on my videos anymore because it's so many people. There's so many people that are listening and watching that if you only have like 1% of the people that are gonna be like assholes in the comments, like that's still going to be like thousands of people that are going to be assholes, which like you cannot like mentally take. So like he decides that with the schedule that he has, like he's not reading comments, he's not like worrying about that anymore, because like the thing that he just enjoys to do is just sit down with people and have a conversation with them and then like podcast them. And like I can very well understand that at that point, like you might not really even care all that much if it takes such a big hit, because like, hey, you know, you get a bunch of money, you'll probably still continue to make a buttload of money because it's gotten to be a very well-known podcast that like even like presidential candidates in the US will get on that podcast to like talk about like their campaigns and stuff, and that they don't normally do that with many other podcasts. And it's been like a really big thing where a lot of people have talked about. Now, will it take a hit? I think most likely it will. Will it take a hit so much in that it won't be one of the most popular podcasts in the world anymore, that it won't be making a truck ton of money? I don't think that will happen, Gus. I think like with the recognition that it has, it will still do that. Because it's been able to stand on its own rather well. When it comes to Ninja's been very much leaning on Fortnite. And like I don't know how he still does these days, because I don't check Mixer, but I never watched Ninja to begin with. And I think that even with PewDiePie, like he probably does better on YouTube now anyways, because like he started out on YouTube. And I think that Joe didn't necessarily start out on YouTube, but he just like he's been all around. So I don't know. It depends.
I wouldn't be surprised if this 100 million was for Joe Rogan to be on exclusively on Spotify for, I don't know. I want to say 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Because you've got to realize that's going to generate Spotify a truck ton of money. What you call metric truck tons of money. That's how much money it's going to
Yeah.
generate them. Because, as you say, people are going to. Sorry.
Bless you.
They're going to transfer over to go see him. Yes, he's going to lose people that are listening to him. I think that he can't do it immediately, right? I think he needs to ease it in where he says, like each episode, right, we're going to be exclusively on Mixer. Sorry, not Mixer, Spotify. We're gonna slowly migrate over. We're gonna slowly do this, slowly do that. If he's doing it for the fans, if he's doing it for the money, then I think he's just gonna transfer over and that'd be that.
Well, I also feel that like this was literally like in our national news. So like, I mean,
Really?
yeah, it was like on our national news, like on the day that he signed. Like that's the way I learned about it. And it's been
Wow.
like all over the internet. So I don't think like he has to worry a lot about like announcing it many times because people know. people
Yeah.
generally know. So it does like kind of impact like the free flow of the internet. But do you like might this like be also a sign that like internet media and internet creators, independent internet creators, are being taken more seriously than before? Like what we see with like Joe Rogan isn't necessarily an internet personality, because like he's already been growing up in like mainstream media. But like PewDiePie and Ninja getting like exclusivity deals, like isn't this a way that like internet is maturing in a sense that like, hey, companies are focusing more and more on like independent creators, and could this not be like a better thing for independent creators that like if you grow bigger, like you might get an exclusivity deal where you might not even have to worry about like limiting yourself to like AdSense and all that sort of stuff because like you got a deal where you got quite a lot of money out of it, and like platforms might be willing to like give you a little bit more leeway, because like they're seeing the worth of your channel and worth of your.
I think this has been I think this has been there for a long time because I don't know if many people know this, but like the Game Grumps, they're owned by Disney, right? Which I when I heard this, I was just like completely shocked. I just like what? They're owned by Disney? Like so hell, PewDiePie was owned by Disney for the longest time ever. So he would have a solid paycheck. And the ad revenue and things like that would go to Disney instead of his pocket, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, that's fine. I mean, if people would rather have job security than risk it all, I mean, I completely get why they would do that. So I think that there has been behind the scenes respect for how public interests are changing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fact that kids these days, they're like, oh, nobody watches YouTube anymore, it's all about them TikToks, right? It is times constantly change. We're always building a new platform for people to grow on, right? Always looking to. So I think if anything, it's not that it is we're becoming more, we're being taken more serious. It's more it's catching the attention of mainstream media because the younger generations that used to be massively into YouTube, they're now growing up. They're now adults, right? They're doing their degrees. They're watching the news. They're reading newspapers and stuff like this. They're not kids anymore. And that, I think, is what is influencing these stories to come about. Things like TV actors, things like movie stars sharing the same screen space as some kid from YouTube. I think that that is more shocking to the older generations because they're like, who the fuck is PewDiePie? Or rather, PewDiePie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's. So I think it's more a case of mainstream media
Yeah.
are taking it seriously
Mm-hmm.
than anything else.
Yeah. I can see that because I never really heard the news where it was like Game Grumps signed for so many millions of dollars with Disney, or like I
Yeah.
knew PewDiePie was like under Disney for a while because like I heard when he got dropped from Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
But like that could definitely be a case where it's like because like it's more covered now, it seems to be more prevalent in the news. Yeah. I mean, like I'm personally like kind of on the fence. Like I really enjoyed listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, though. Like I'm not a big Spotify fan because like I don't use it, I don't have it. So would
Yeah.
I switch platforms for like one single show? I don't know. But
Well,
the
it's no,
Spotify
but
video thing is
so
something that I'm
just
pretty.
just to highlight, you're not switching platforms. You're not going like, oh, I'm never going back to YouTube. You are expanding. It's like, you know, he has got the exclusivity deal. You don't.
No,
So it'd be a
but
case
it's
of, do you follow him?
yeah. That I mean, like yeah, but like adding. I think that when it comes to platforms though, it's very much like Facebook friends or friends in general. Like remember the time, I don't know if you remember, but like when Facebook was brand new and like everyone had this thing where they were like, "Oh yeah, I want to like get as many friends as possible because like there are all these people that I'm friends with and I've just at them like I have like a very big list of friends and everyone like so many people that I really enjoy." And like there was this time where you see so many people with so many friends, like, oh my god, they're so well connected. They get so many friends. But the reality is like you can't keep up with that many friends. Like there's only a limited amount of people that you can keep up with. So like if you add new people, you're gonna lose contact with some of them. So like if I see people right now that have like 500 to 1,000 friends on Facebook, I'm like, dude, you're not in contact with many of them, and I'm sure of it. So like I think it's the same thing when it comes to platforms. Like if I add Spotify, let's say, to my repertoire of platforms that I follow, there is going to be a platform that I'm going to lose because I can't keep my attention on everything.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And I think that this is why social media has pretty much dominated a lot of this stuff. So I've known people to turn around and say like, oh, I'm going to start doing my own, you know, online store and things like that. Right, put it on Etsy. It was like, no, I'm going to have my own website. And it was like, yeah, but how are you going to drive traffic to it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? How are you going to get people to go, look at it, so on and so forth? Oh, they'll find it. How? I don't even know how to find it. Right?
Yeah.
And like a lot of people, they have this like weird old mindset of how the world works. So when it comes to things like, Joe Rogan transferring from YouTube to Spotify, to some people it means hell of a lot more than other people. Like, okay, so for example, if I was to follow Joe Rogan, I would see what it would be like to watch or listen to Joe Rogan on Spotify. And if it was an unappealing thing where his podcast was littered with adverts, gone.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not continuing. And I think if anything, with the investment of the money for Joe Rogan to transfer to Spotify, we also have to respect that Spotify need to put money in to make sure that the platform is suited for the audience that are following him.
Yeah. Do you think though, Spotify video, do you think that could be a potential YouTube competitor? Is there any chance?
Everything is a YouTube competitor, right?
But in video form.
Yeah, but like, Vimeo's a YouTube competitor. That hasn't died yet.
It's been around for a long time, but it's kind of like the mixer to Twitch,
Yeah, I mean, it's like, but to be honest, I think the only reason, so I am fairly certain in my own thinking The only reason why YouTube is still around is because YouTube is just going, don't care if you're losing money, we have a monopoly, keep going, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only reason why Amazon bought Twitch, even though Google was going to do it, oh my God, could you just imagine that?
Oh my God, dude.
That would have been amazing, seriously. Like, proper streaming and video on demand. Oh,
Actually, like, I'm kind of happy in a sense that like Amazon has gotten Twitch because like, with YouTube and like the way that YouTube is connected to Google, like if there is some sort of like Google or YouTube ban against you, like at least you would not also be banned from like Twitch. Like there is a competitor. Like otherwise, Google has like the entire monopoly on like all of like the most popular online entertainment. And right now, you have Google on the one hand, you have Amazon on the other hand with Twitch. And who knows, Spotify? Like is Spotify part of Apple? Maybe Spotify's part of Apple. I'm gonna have to look it up. But then like, if there's gonna be free cams, like it's better than having like one control everything. So like, I'm kind of happy, even though like
I get where you're coming from, but at the same time, it's like it is down to who is prepared to throw the most amount of money to Twitch. But like honestly, I feel that if YouTube had Twitch would have evolved a lot more, instead of YouTube wasting resources on YouTube gaming and the pointless fucking redesign of what's the name of that stupid dashboard? The
creative dashboard.
The creative studio. The whole there's like so many like things that YouTube have just pissed money away on. But if they actually had Twitch, I felt that would have been their main focus, and that would have been something that they could have expanded on easily. But now, like, Twitch has barely changed to me, right? Like, I'm looking at it from an outside perspective. It's barely changed to me. And the only thing that I find more frustrating than anything else is the stupid integration between Twitch and Amazon Prime. I don't have Amazon Prime. I have zero intention of getting Amazon Prime. I hate Amazon Video with a passion. And, like, I get Prime deliveries regardless of whether or not I have Prime.
So I actually think that two of the things that you list as negative, I think are rather positive. Like number one, the fact that it hasn't changed that much. I think like it would have been better. Like there have been many changes with YouTube that would have been better if they hadn't been made.
That's my point.
And like the thing
my
with
point is,
the thing
if
with
they had, go on.
The thing with Twitch is like it hasn't really changed all that much from an outside perspective. Then again, like an outside perspective on YouTube also would appear like nothing has really changed all that much because there's still videos on the front page. There's still a video if you click on them. There's still a video in the search bar. There have been things that have changed in Twitch behind the scenes, but not that much. As far as I've been around, it's been rather steadily the same. And even the creative dashboard here has gotten like the overhaul that's kind of gotten on like YouTube, which is kind of weird. But anyway, so like I think that's a rather positive thing. I'd rather have that like when big companies buy up like these like YouTube or Twitch, they'd rather keep them the same. Because like that's the good things about them. Like many changes that YouTube are putting through are really bad. And like they do not do a good job at listening to their community. Like really bad. But like also, the Amazon Prime thing, I think it's a really good thing. Like, if you're not interested in, like, having Amazon Prime, fine. However, there have been many people around that have Amazon Prime because they either buy it for, like, the shipping, they have it for, like, the video side of things. And if they have it, they can subscribe for free to people that they watch. It's like, I think that's an amazing integration that they have. If you want it, like, of course they're going to, like, promote it in some ways. I don't think it's too much everywhere. Like, I think like a Twitch Prime subscription on Twitch is like one of the best things out there. Like, if you already have, it's like if you have a Netflix account and you can like give someone like $2.50 like a month on YouTube for free without you having to do anything, like how amazing would that be? So like I think it's a good thing that it's combined with that.
No. I'm pushing you back on that. It's not you doing nothing. It is you paying £75 a year to be able to pay someone $2.50 a month.
Well, that would be the case if you would only get it to like watch someone on Twitch. But it's like if you already have Netflix, you already have Netflix and you're watching someone on YouTube, you can subscribe and give them money for free because like you already have Netflix. That's the same thing that they're aspiring with. Like the Amazon Prime
But
thing is supposed to be you like for people that already have Amazon Prime because of either for the packages or either for like the streaming service. If they go to Twitch,
it's a nice addition.
Yeah.
Right. That's the point. It's an addition. It's not extra charge.
No.
Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is that the charge, like, you've got a really valid point, right? But for that regard, I don't pay the 75 quid a year. I just pay Joey $5 a month.
Yeah, but that option would have been there regardless whether you would have Amazon, like the Amazon Prime integration or not. So it's like it's just an option for the people that already have it, regardless of whether you have it or not. Like you don't have to get Amazon Prime in order to pay him.
No, but it's. I just find that the integration just feels fucking cheap. I'd much rather they work on other stuff than.
I just really like it if it's part of their subset where it's like, hey, let's say that Google had like. I mean, they have YouTube, right? But let's say that Google owned Netflix, and if you had a Netflix subscription, like you would also go and be able to like give someone a free subscription on YouTube. It's like I'd rather have that.
Don't get me wrong. I completely agree with that. But like at the same time, like there's one thing that I would absolutely love of Twitch, right? So I would love it if you could full screen the video, right? But then have a pop-up overlay for the chat, right? So there's not like giant black bars everywhere. Yeah, that's one thing I absolutely detest about Twitch is that its layout with its chat and its video are just so goddamn clunky, and it's been like that from the year dot. And like, but there's no interest in innovating that. There's no interest. Like that innovation is what drives technology, but you know, a lot of people just.
I think it's probably also. I think it's probably also different needs from different platforms. Like YouTube is very much like oriented on the video side of things, where people enjoy like having this thing up and maybe having a chat for up. Where Twitch has a lot more oriented on like people engaging either completely in chat or completely not engaging in chat.
But that's why I find it so interesting that Spotify, who 100% audio based, now looking to innovate and encroach on the video territory to support Joe Rogan's podcast. That is incredible to me. Yeah. Right? Huge leaps and bounds in terms of innovation, as opposed to, oh, well, we're just going to make our own version of Twitch, or we're going to integrate Amazon Prime into Twitch. Like, you know, it's like that leaps and bounds.
Cool. I'm really curious. Like, I'm a little bit afraid that this might be like I don't think Spotify is very open to like free and like people, you know, consumers uploading. Like I think it's very much like you have to be an official artist to upload. Though saying that, I do want to very quickly check whether this podcast isn't actually streamed on Spotify, because if it is, like I'm doing this via Anchor. Which is like I'm also uploading this podcast as like an audio file on like Anchor.fm that like shares it through to other podcasting platforms, which you might be listening for it right now if you're not listening to this live. And it just shares it out to like many different things. Oh yeah, it is on Spotify. We are on Spotify too. The FrameCast is on Spotify too. So like apparently, yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. We're on Spotify too, so that means that basically, like right now, I can upload to the audio things to Spotify. So that eases my concerns a lot more. For like, there might be a real possibility that like I could also upload video to Spotify. I don't know whether that might be, but I first thought that Spotify was just solely for like established artists. But if like, hey, we have been uploading the FrameCast for about a year now to Spotify, and I didn't know. So hi, Spotify audience, if you're listening to us on Spotify, please tweet at me to twitter.com/MishaPostma_. Please tell me that you're listening to this on Spotify, because like, I'm sorry, I forgot about you. I really am. But like, we're on Spotify too, so like that gets me hopeful, because like I would love for Spotify to have like this YouTube approach to like video, where like I could upload video to Spotify, because the thing is that Vimeo is very unknown by many, many people. No one knows about Vimeo. Like barely anyone in the mainstream knows about it. But everyone knows, like, well, not everyone, but most people know about Spotify. Spotify has been very well marketed
Yeah.
in like the mainstream world. And why I think that YouTube really succeeded is because it got paired with Google. And every single phone that you bought, even iPhones at the beginning, got a YouTube app on them. So like people got to know about it. And like that's the most important thing. Mixer never got really blown up because Twitch is also not really blown up. Like not everyone knows about Twitch, but people know about YouTube. And there's far less people that know about Mixer than they know about Twitch. So Mixer has a really tough start. I think Spotify, if they upload video, if they do this video thing like YouTube, they have a really good chance. And oh boy, that might be one of the best things to ever happen in like 2020 or 2021, because that would mean something really interesting for YouTube. I would love for a scenario where YouTube might have to start worrying about having like the monopoly on video. That would be so good. Oh boy.
Lol. Cool. Right. Should we end it here?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I'm happy with
Cool.
it. If anyone still has any questions, feel free to post them in chat. We can go over them like in a little bit. Do keep in mind for future episodes, you can always leave the questions in like the comments in the video below, or like tweet them at us, or like put them in like descriptions, or like the Discord, whatever. Let's see. If the video also says the perks of video might be exclusive to people they trust, never deal with, which are probably reserved for music videos. It might be. I felt that was going to be like a very big, high possibility until I discovered that we're uploading this on Spotify too, apparently. So Spotify already has, for their audio section, a way for people to upload to it without having been like established music artists. Because as far as I'm aware, I'm not really a music artist, nor have I been very established. So if that is a possibility for their audio side of things, maybe it might become a possibility for the video side of things too.
I mean, what might be a thing with their video? Like, if I remember correctly, with the audio side of things, you have to host it somewhere else. I'm not entirely sure. Like, you can't just upload it directly to Spotify like you can with YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, like, buying or renting out a server with like Amazon, it could be pretty damn cheap just to host video, and you can just go, right, you know, this is literally just to host files, and depending on the volume of access determines like how much the cost is. This is commonly referred to as like an S3 bucket. And those things are cheap as hell for like truck tons of storage space. We're talking like terabytes of storage space. Yeah. So, you know.
Yeah.
As long as you encode it for download, I mean.
I'm really curious. I think it could look really good. And like, even if it's only for like professionals or whatever, if it's so locked out, like, who knows? I don't know. It's interesting. There's some development on the video side of things, online video. Like that's always good, because YouTube is in a far too comfortable position where they can do whatever the fuck they want and no one can do something about it. The video says, given how awful kernel level and anti-cheat is at this time, how long do you all think it would take for someone to implement some decent level kernel anti-cheat, and what company do you all think would be the first to implement it?
The second part to that question is Microsoft. I think Microsoft would jump on this just to go, haha, we have built a tool to prevent people from cheating. But at what point? How long will it take?
Like,
I don't know. I reckon they could bash it out in a few months, if like I'm talking like 6 months to a year, if they when they start development, because it's entirely dependent on the needs of the developers. But I mean, what are you looking for? You're looking for very specific movement sets and things like that. So you're looking for, oh look, does this piece of hardware exist? No, we're not actually getting signals from that piece of hardware. We're getting it from a piece of software. That's cheating. You know, oh, someone's able to press 26 keys all at once, no, that's cheating. Like, they would be able to integrate into the operating system much more sophisticated ways of detecting stuff and not be on the fucking O-ring.
Yeah, like I think that when it comes to like the O-ring stuff, I feel it's a thing like anything created by man can be defeated by man. So like I think that like regardless of how much time like you're gonna put into like making something robust, someone's gonna be able to like bust it. And the problem with like the O-ring thing is that like if someone's gonna like if you know that someone's gonna be able to bust it, like there is so much more at risk. As I was saying, like I would have far fewer problems with this being like on an O-ring on one of my consoles because those are simply for my games. And most of my games are gonna be in the cloud. It's like, yeah, it would still be somewhat concerning, but like
No, just to highlight, you would never get this on a console because you don't have that much hackability with a console.
Yeah, that's also true because like the consoles have far more controlled environment. But even there, like I wouldn't mind. Like let's say there is a vulnerability that like resets my entire PS4 or like breaks the SSD of my PS4 or whatever. You know, if it's something that wasn't clearly my fault but was clearly the fault of like a game or was clearly the fault of like Sony or Microsoft, like there's probably going to be some sort of trade-in. But even if there isn't, like it might cost me money. Like then I can decide to go for it or not. But I'm not losing very valuable data. If I do it though on my PC, like that is a whole different story. And I don't think that there will ever be a fully foolproof like rank 0 kernel anti-cheat thing. So that will always be a point of contention. And yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. Like I can understand that people are moving this direction, but it might also just be a trend that like comes up and it's just being slammed down because it just sounds dumb. But it might also just be that like it sounds dumb and people just go with it because you know gamer boycotts just don't fucking work. Because people continue to play it. So they might just say, like, oh, we're just going to go ahead with it. You know, boo. And yeah, I don't know. I'm really curious as to, like, how this will continue. I really don't know, though.
But the good news is Doom got free of it. So,
yes!
I get to finish it.
Woo! Good job for Doom. I've been super, super glad with Doom Eternal. So far, it's been really good. A really good refreshment since Doom 2016.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right, so guys, thank you all so much for tuning in to FrameCast number 43. 1 year since the FrameCast began, and we're here with like something new. I hope you guys liked it. If you enjoyed the changes, let us know. Put it in the comments down below. Whatever, tweet it, whatever you want to do it. If you have any questions for next week, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you're watching this on YouTube, or leave them in like my Discord or something, or tweet them at me with like hashtag FrameCast question, and then like I will like leave them, like collect them. That being said, thank you so much for listening. If you want to check out Xenogalleon, you can go to youtube.com/Xenogalleon or go to tiktok.com/@Xenogalleon because they don't know how to do links right, but like support his TikTok adventure. And yeah, next week we will be back. Gonna be great to see you guys. If you want to check it out, youtube.com/postmagames. And there will be videos coming up on this YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, like next week, I think I'm gonna restart production of videos next week. Like I'm already preparing, but like anyway, that's where I've been. Yeah. Aside from that, I think that we've done everything. Have we missed something?
Yep.
I don't think so.
No, I think that's everything.
How did you enjoy this week?
Yeah, it was really good.
Hell yeah. That's clear to hear. Okay, guys. See you all around. See you next week.